Okay, polymorphism in C++. Here you can see polymorphism means one name multiple forms. Okay, one name multiple forms. Okay, that is called a polymer. Poly means many. Uh, Morphism means forms, many forms. For example, the plus operator in C++ will behave different for different data types. 4 plus 5 integer addition, 3.14 plus 2.0 floating point addition, good plus boy, okay, string concatenation. These are different types of different forms, but meaning is poly means many forms. Okay, polymorphism is two types. Or compile time polymorphism, that is static binding or static linking or early binding. Okay, in compile time polymorphism, in compile time polymorphism, all information needed to call a function is known as during program compilation. Known as during program compilation. Suppose program is there, that program compilation purpose. When we compile that program, then one polymorphism is occurred. That polymorphism is called, okay, compile time polymorphism. Okay. Next, function overloading, operator overloading. Function overloading and operator overloading. Okay. Both are used to achieve compile time polymorphism. Both are used to achieve compile time polymorphism. Okay. In polymorphism, nothing but many forms. Many forms. Here you can see the addition is one. Name is addition. Name is addition. 4 plus 5, 3.14 plus 2.0, good plus boy. Here we are using addition, but different form, different types of data types or different form of data types are there. Here integer data types, here floating point data types. So here we are using string data type. Okay, string data type. Okay, these are called polymorphism. This is the meaning of polymorphism. Okay, there are two types of polymorphisms are there: compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. Okay, next here you can see runtime polymorphism. The runtime polymorphism nothing but dynamic runtime polymorphism, also called dynamic polymorphism. Dynamic polymorphism or dynamic binding or late binding. Dynamic binding or late binding. In runtime polymorphism, all information needed to call a function is known as during program execution. During program execution, what is the problem is occurred, that is called runtime polymorphism. That is called runtime polymorphism. Example for runtime polymorphism: virtual function is used to achieve runtime polymorphism. Virtual function. What is the virtual function? Is the that function is used to achieve runtime polymorphism. Okay. Two types of polymorphisms are there. One is compile time, and second one is runtime. Compile time polymorphism is also called static binding. Next, early binding or static. Okay, that is compile time. Okay, runtime polymorphism is called dynamic binding, late binding, or dynamic binding. Okay, here function overloading. It is the process by which a single function can perform different tasks. A single function can perform different tasks depending upon number of parameters and types of parameters. Okay, it is process by which a single function can perform. It is the process by which a single function can perform different tasks depending upon number of parameters and types of parameters. Okay, it is the process by which a single function can perform different tasks depending upon number of parameters and types of parameters are there. Here you can see in this program. Okay, what is this one? iostream.h header file. Next float area. Next int also area. Okay, function name is same here. Here and here function name is same, but argument list is different. Argument list is different. That is called function overloading. That is called a function overloading. Here you can see in main function area of 10 comma 10. Okay, unambiguous function call area int comma int. Okay, this is called int comma int. Okay, next closing area of okay 10.0 comma 10. Here this is called one floating and one integer. This function is called. Okay, note here the second area function will not compile and will generate error ambiguity between area int comma int and area float comma int. It's because 10.0 is treated as a double, okay, not a float. Either of our function could accept the double, but our compiler does not know which one you want, which one you want to use, which one you want to use. Okay. Next here you can see, okay, first one compile. The first one, what is the first function is there? That function is compile, but second function cannot compile. Why 10.0 is that is floating point or double, but here taken you could accept it. Okay, function could accept a double, but here we are given only floating point value. That's why that is not compile. Okay, following function cannot be overloaded. Okay, following function cannot be overloaded. See here, void f of int x, void f of int ampersand x. The above function cannot be overloaded when the only difference is that one takes a reference parameter and other takes a normal, a call by value parameter. Type def. Okay, here you can see first one, the above function, first one, what here no reference parameters, here reference parameter. Okay, then these two functions are function cannot be overloaded. These two functions are cannot be overloaded. Okay, both are normal parameters. Then only overloading is possible. Okay, both are same parameters. Okay, next otherwise both are okay, not overloaded. Okay, first one is call by value and second one is what? Okay, second one is reference. Okay, call by reference. Okay, that's why function overloading is not possible. Here you can see type def. Okay, int integer. Here enum. Okay, enum is what is that enumerated days of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday like that. Void f of int. Okay, void f of mon. Okay, this is what this is overload. This is here also can't overload. Why means here enum is there. Okay, a type def integer is there. That's why here also not overloaded. Okay, object slicing. In the object programming, a derived class typically inherits its base class by defining additional member variables. If a base class instance is assigned its value from a derived class instance, member variables defined in the derived class cannot be copied, since the base class has no place to store them. This is natural and unavoidable consequence of assignment by value from derived class object. Okay, the term object slicing is sometimes used to refer to these aspects of assignment by value to the base class instance. Okay, here you can see here you can see slicing nothing but in object-oriented programming, a derived class typically inherits its base class by defining additional member variables. Okay, if a base class instance is assigned its value from a derived class instance, member variables defined in the derived class cannot be copied. Okay, since the base class has no place to store them. This is a natural and unavoidable consequence of assignment by value from derived class object. The term object slicing is sometimes used to refer to these aspects of assignment by value to the base class instance. Okay. Next, object slicing occur when object of derived class is assigned to an object of base class, thereby losing part of the information. Some of it is called slicing away. Some of it is called sliced away. Okay, next example, class A. Okay, here integer variable is there, that is variable A. What is the variable? Int x is a variable that is defined in the class. Next, class B. Next, public key. This is called what? A base class. This is derived class. Okay, this is base class and this is derived class int y. So an object of type B has two data members x and y. Then if we are writing this code bb, a is equal to b. Okay, then the information in B about member y will be lost in A. Will be lost in A. Okay. Next, function overloading using virtual function. When a base class and derived class contain same member functions, then the base versions of the number function always works when we invoke the function using base point. Okay. Next here you can see demonstration. Okay. Here solution. IOStream.h class name is B. Next public void show. I am in base class. I am in base show or I am in base show. Okay. Next one you can see D is a class. B is base class. D is derived class. D is derived from base class. Okay. So here I am in derived show. Okay. Next main function. Base class assigned with one object B and a pointer object BP and D class assigned with one D and BP is missing D. Show here also show. Okay, I am in base class. So I am in derived class. Base class. Okay. See here virtual function. Okay, what is a virtual function? Virtual function is a member function. Okay. Virtual function is a member function. Okay. Virtual function is a member function. Okay, that is declared within a base class and redefined by derived class. Redefined by derived class. Okay. Here, a virtual function is a member function that is declared within a base class and redefined by a derived class. Okay, to create a virtual function, precede the function's declaration in the base class with the keyword virtual. When a class containing a virtual function is inherited, the derived class redefines the virtual function to fit its own needs. In essential, virtual function implements the one interface multiple methods philosophy that underlines polymorphism. The virtual function within the base class redefines the form of the interface to that function. Each redefinition of the virtual function by a derived class implements its operations as it relates specifically to the derived class. That is, the redefinition creates specific methods. Okay, and here the virtual function you can see class B is there. Next, this is virtual show. This is virtual show. I am in base show. Okay, next B class is over. Next D class. Okay, D class on the D class you can see this is B is base class, D is derived class. Okay, base class to derived class communication. We are using single colons. That is the communication between base class and derived class. Okay, I am in derived. Okay, show and here you can see void main function. Okay, B base class assigned with an object small b and star BP and derived class D is assigned with an object D. Next BP ampersand D here show. Next D output I am base class I am in derived show. Okay, I am in base show and I am in derived show. A base pointer can be made to point to any number of derived objects. It cannot access the members defined by a derived class. Okay, it can access only the members which are common to the base class if a same function is present in both base and derived classes. Okay, always, okay, here always, where it, okay, if a same function is permits in both base and derived classes, always what is the base version of the function is called when we access the function using base pointer when we access the function using base pointer no matter whether it points to base class or derived class. Derived version of the function can be called by making the function having same name as virtual. This is also called function overloading because function in the base class is overridden by the function in derived class. Okay, base class function is overridden by using the function in derived class. Okay. Next, when a virtual function is inherited, its virtual nature is also inherited. When a virtual function is inherited, okay, then its virtual nature also inherited. This means that when a derived class that has inherited a virtual function is itself used as a base class for another derived class. Okay, the virtual function can still be overridden. The virtual function still be overridden. Pure virtual function, you can see a virtual function is a virtual function that has no definition within the base class. That has no definition within the base class. To declare a pure virtual function, use this general form virtual keyword return type function name parameter list is equal to 0. Parameter list is equal to 0. When a virtual function is made pure, any derived class must provide its own definition. Its own definition. If the derived class fails to override the pure virtual function, a compile time error will result. Hence, definition for pure virtual function must be there in the derived class. Okay, see here in pure virtual function, a pure virtual function is a virtual function that has no definition within the base class. There is no definition in base class. Okay, to declare a pure virtual function, use this general form. First, you can use the function name before you can use the data type, return type, and before that return type, you can use virtual keyword. Okay, function name before you can use virtual. Okay, keyword. Okay, when you can use virtual keyword, then automatically the function called virtual function. Okay, here you can see when virtual function is inherited, its all natures also inherited. Okay. Next here, when a virtual function is made pure, any derived class must provide its own definition. If the derived class fails to override the pure virtual function, a compile time error will result. Hence, definition of pure virtual function must be here in the derived class. Okay, abstract class. A abstract that contains at least one pure virtual function is said to be abstract. Okay, because an abstract class contains one or more functions for which there is no definition. There is no definition. No objects of an abstract class may be created. Instead, an abstract class continues an incomplete type that is used as a foundation for derived class. Although we cannot create objects of an abstract class, we can create pointers and references to an object class. This allows abstract classes to support runtime polymorphism, which relies upon base class pointers and references to select the proper virtual function. Okay. Next here include iostream.h class shape protected. Here protected. Okay, this is access specified double volume. Next public virtual void. Okay, find volume. Okay, here you can see. And next, okay, class is what cube. Class is what cube public shape. Next protected here. Okay, next public is cube. Cube function we can access anywhere. Okay, what is base class here? Shape is a base class, cube is a derived class, and here a sphere. Sphere also base class. Here this is shape class. Next, those are here you can see cube. Again, enter those values. Okay, sphere. Okay, those values are entered here. Okay, and result is you can see main function. In main function, shape is the base class that is assigned with an object, and cube and sphere. Sphere. These two are the derived classes. Those two derived classes are also assigned objects cube and sphere. Okay, here and you can say operator overloading. It is most striking feature of C++. In operator overloading is an operator can be overloaded on user defined data types. So suppose plus operator perform addition of integers. Okay, or real numbers, but we can overload this operator to compute sum of two complex numbers. Only existing operators can be overloaded. New operator cannot be overloaded. Okay, it should obey the basic meaning of an operator. Okay, plus operator cannot be used to subtract two members. Cannot be used to subtract two members. Okay, these operators cannot be overloaded. These operators cannot be overloaded. The operator overloading can be done by member function and friend function. Operator overloading done by member function and a friend function. Okay. Here in this function, we are explained about polymorphism and what is that one polymorphism and here polymorphism and virtual function. Virtual function. Okay. Next, you can see. Okay, these here you can see a polymorphism nothing but many forms. Polymorphism nothing but many forms. Okay, here polymorphism nothing but many forms. Okay, here polymorphism means one name but multiple forms. One name, multiple forms. College are there, college is name, but in colleges different types of colleges are there. Intermediate, polytechnic, ITI, these type of different colleges are there. But name is same, but those are in different forms. Those are in different forms. Like that, in addition of plus operator, there are different types of operations are there. Integer values also we can add. Floating point values also we can add, and string values also we can add. Okay, these three are in three different forms, but operation is addition. Operation is addition. Polymorphism is of two types. Polymorphism is of two types. One is compile time. Next, another one is runtime. Compile time. Runtime. Compile time and runtime. Okay, compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. Okay, here two types of polymorphisms are there: compile time and runtime. You can see here compile time polymorphism also called a static binding. Okay, static binding, static linking, or early binding. Static binding, static binding, static linking, static and early binding. Okay, next, next here you can see runtime polymorphism is also called a dynamic late binding. Okay, late binding or dynamic binding. Okay, next here you can see. Okay, the what is that one? Polymorphism is, you can see, virtual function is used to achieve runtime polymorphism. Okay, runtime polymorphism is called a runtime virtual function. Example for runtime polymorphism or dynamic polymorphism. Example, what is that, a virtual function. And here you can see compile time polymorphism. Example is function overloading and operator overloading. Okay, here you can see. Okay, here first word is the float area and the int area. Okay, area both are the function names. Both function names are same. Both function names are same, but what is difference? Okay, what is the difference? Their argument list are different. Argument list are different. Here integer only. Here integer and integer. Okay, here only one argument. Here more than one argument is there. Okay. Next, main function. On that main function, after main function, you can declare the variables there. You can declare the variables. You can declare the variables. And here you can see ambiguity in a function overloading. Okay, when function is overloaded, there occurred an ambiguity. You can see here. Okay, ambiguity occurred. You can see void area of int comma int and the void area of a float comma int. Here both the data types are same. Here both data types are different. Next, area of 10 comma 10 unambiguous function call. Unambiguous function calls and call area int comma int. Okay, call area int comma int. Okay, opening braces and closing braces area of 10.0. Here ambiguity function call error. Ambiguity function call error. Why means here 10.0 is called, compiler can identify that is double. Okay, that is accept a double. Okay, but here we are what is that assigned as a what? Okay, following functions cannot be overloaded. Here you can see one is actual parameter, another one is reference parameter. One is actual parameter, another one is the reference parameter. Here, operator what function overloading is not possible. The above two functions cannot be overloaded when the only difference is that one takes a reference parameter, and other takes a normal. Okay, call by value parameter. Okay, type def int integer. You can see here type def int integer. Nothing but here you can take enum. Okay, day after that you can take and slicing. Object slicing means here you can see in object oriented programming a derived class typically inherits its base class by defining additional member variables. By defining additional member variable. Okay. Next, if a base class instance is assigned its value from derived class instance, okay, member variable defined in the derived class cannot be copied. Okay. What are the member functions in derived class? Those are not cannot be copied. What are the information data and member functions inside base class? Those are not copied by okay, derived class. Okay, since the base class has no place to store them, okay, this is the nature and unavoidable consequence of assignment by value from derived class objects. Okay, the term object slicing is sometimes used to refer to these aspects of assignment. Okay, of assignment by value to the base class instance. Okay, next here you can see object slicing. Object slicing nothing but occur when object of derived class is assigned to an object of base class. Okay, what is slicing when occurred? Slicing occurred when object of a derived class. Object of a derived class is assigned to an object of a base class, thereby losing part of the information. Thereby losing part of the information. Okay. Okay, next, so here you can see, okay, base class here, next variable x in a class A we are declared a variable. Next B is there, B is derived class, A is base class, on that one is data type, which data type that one, Y. Next, so an object of type B has two data members x and y. Then if we are writing this code bb a is equal to b, then the information in b about member of y will be lost in a. Okay. Next, just you can see virtual function nothing but what is a member function that is declared within the base class and redefined by a derived class. Okay, what is the function is declared in base class that is redefined in derived class is called virtual function. Okay, to create a virtual function, okay, preceded the function's declaration in the base class with the keyword virtual. Okay, before that function name preceded by okay one keyword that is virtual keyword you can assign before that function. Next, when a clause containing a virtual function is inherited, the derived clause redefines the virtual function to fit its own needs. To fit its own needs. In essence, a virtual function implements the one interface multiple methods philosophy. One interface multiple method philosophy that underlies polymorphism. The virtual function within the base class okay defines the form of the inheritance to that function. Each redefinition of the virtual function by a derived class implements its operations as it's related specifically to the derived class. That is, the redefinition creates a specific method. Redefinition creates a specific method. Okay. Next here you can see, okay, base pointer can be made to point to any number of derived objects. It cannot access the members defined by a derived class. It can access only the members which are common to the base class. If a same function is present in both base and derived classes, always base version of the function is called when we access the function using base pointer. Okay, derived version of function can be called making the function as virtual, making the function as virtual. This is also called function overloading because function in the base class is overridden by the function in the derived class. Function in the base class is overridden by in the function class. Okay, see here, when virtual function is inherited, its virtual nature, its virtual nature is also inherited. When virtual function is inherited, its virtual nature also inherited. Okay. Next, you can see here a pure virtual function is a virtual function that has no definition within the base class. Okay, the declare to declare a pure virtual function, use this general form. Okay, virtual keyword you can use before that function name. That before that function name you can use virtual keyword. Okay, and you can give the function name. Okay, then parameter list is there. That parameter list also you can mention inside parenthesis. Okay. Next, when a virtual function is made pure, any derived class must provided its own definition. If the derived class fails to override the pure virtual function, a compile time error will result. Okay, hence definition of pure virtual function must be there in the derived class. Okay, virtual function here you can see what are the virtual function is inherited. Its virtual nature is also inherited. Okay, here. Okay, next. Okay, abstract class you can see here a class that contains at least one pure virtual function is said to be abstract. In a class, a master should contain at least one pure virtual function. Okay, then that function is called abstract. Then that class is called abstract class. Okay, because an abstract class contains one or more functions for which there is no definition. For which there is no definition, no object of an abstract class may be created. Okay, instead, an abstract class continues an incomplete type that is used as a foundation for derived class. Although we cannot create objects of an abstract class, we can create pointers and references to an abstract class. Okay, this allows abstract class to support runtime polymorphism. Abstract class to support a runtime polymorphism. Okay, next here you can see, okay, then class is over.